Good morning.
Good
Good
morning,
morning, sir.
sir.
Very good morning. Please wait. I am putting the uh, PPT. Is the PPT visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So sorry for the interruption. Actually, there were certain technical issues. That is why I was not able to put this PPT. Uh, so let us start with. So in this unit particularly, we'll discuss regarding your lease and the hire purchase and the housing financial. Okay. Uh, so in the lease, there is meaning importance type, evaluation of lease from the point of view of leaser and leasing, then leasing versus by decision. Another is your hire purchase and installment, credit and its price. And the housing financial sources and policies for housing finance. Uh, this much is your syllabus, so we need to discuss them in detail. Let us understand first what is the lease. A lease is a contract between the owner of the asset and the beneficiary. Beneficiary means the person who is getting the benefit from the asset. And here, what is happened? The owner of the asset is called the lessor, and the beneficiary, that means who is obtaining the benefit by using the asset, is called your lessee. Now you understand in this contract of lease, there are two parties. One is the lessor and another is the lessee. And the lessee has a right to possess and to use the asset on payment of a specified rentals over a predetermined period of time. That means according to the contract or whatever the lease period, during this lease period, the lessee has a right to possess the property and to use the property. Property, it may be asset, and particularly all these is regarding the payment of a specified rentals, which is predetermined. Is that okay? Able to understand what is meant by lease?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let us understand what are the states involved. What are the states involved in the leasing? First, here you see a contract of a lease provides a person an opportunity to use an asset which belongs to another person, right? It is a contract. A contract of lease provides a person an opportunity to use an asset which does not belongs to him or belongs to another person. So let us understand what are the various steps which are involved in a leasing transaction. For this purpose, first, the leasee, that means the beneficiary or the person who intend to use the asset, he will identify the need for the equipment and select the supply. First thing what he will do, he will identify the need for the equipment. What type of equipments are required for it? Suppose one industrialist is there, and this industrialist need a particular a particular plant. This plant is very costly, say to the tune of 1 crore, and he has actually no money to purchase this plant. But he is supposed to use this plant. For this purpose, what he can do? First, he will identify the need for the equipment. That means he will identify which type of equipment is required by him to be used. Then, what he will do? He will select the supplier. That means who are the prospective suppliers. That means who is the person that means who is able to provide this plant. Then the leasing approaches a leasing company or lessor to lease the equipment. Then various leasing companies are there. Various leasing companies are there means there are certain companies who are acquiring the assets as per the need of the leasing, and they are letting them on lease to the uh, uh, person. So that is their business. So this is your leasing company. Otherwise, certain persons are also there. Uh, these persons are lessors, and these persons they are also interested to purchase the asset and let these asset on lease, so that the another person will use them for a lease rent. Okay. So the now it is the duty of the leasing to approach a leasing company or a lessor to lease the equipment which is required by. Is that clear? So next is the leasee has to furnish certain documents. What are the documents required? First, name and address of the leasee, then details about his business, name and address of the guarantor, if any, description of the equipment, name and address of the supplier, and the quoted price, place of the installation, and the duration of the lease. For all these details, certain documents are required. What are these documents? First one is your name and address of the leasing. Second, details about his business, what type of a business he is doing, who the leasing, and the name and address of the guarantor. Actually, sometimes what is happening, the uh, leasing is unknown to the leaser. So a contract with a what unknown person is not suitable. That is why what they are asking for guarantee. That means a certain known person, these known persons that they will give his guarantee that this person is a known person and a good person, and he will abide by all the terms of the contract. Okay, and the name and address of this guarantor is also required, and the description of the equipment. That means which type of equipment is required by the leasing, and the name and address of the supplier and the quoted price. That means the supplier, prospective supplier who will able to supply these equipment, his name and address, and the quoted price, quotation. That means what is the expected price of the product or that plant or machinery or whatever it may be. And another thing is the place of installation, where this plant or equipment is supposed to be installed. Installation means what? Fixing. Actually, certain plants are there. These plants are movable. For that purpose, no installation is required. But certain plants are there which is supposed to be fixed to the earth or to the within the factory, so that it will not move. And here the laser also wanted to know the place of the installation and what shall be the duration of the lease. That means the time period for which the lease will be made. So these are the documents which has to be furnished by the leasing to the lessor. Is that right? Now, the lessor uh, examines the proposal after receiving the particular form, what particular from the leasing, and evaluates the credit worthiness and the rent paying capacity of the lease. Now, the whole thing is that the party who is intended to take the property on lease, whether that party is capable. Credit worthiness means whether the party is what capable to make the payment. क्या पेमेंट करना है? एक तो होता है लीज रेंट, जब होता है फिक्स होता है, एक लमसम अमाउंट होता है, अनदर होता है उसका मंथली या क्वार्टरली या अनुअली कुछ होता है, उसको लीज रेंट बताते हैं. दैट मीन्स वेदर दिस पर्सन इज एबल टू मेक द पेमेंट रेंट पेइंग कैपेसिटी ऑफ द लीज. That is what's called credit worthiness. Okay. Now the lessor will, after getting all the particulars from the lease, then he evaluates the credit worthiness and rent paying capacity of the lease. Then the lessor and the leasing they enter into lease agreement. If the lessor found that the party is sufficient, sufficient credit worthiness and he is capable of paying the rent, then the lessor and the leasing they enter into a lease agreement. And this lease agreement contains the terms and conditions of the lease, such as lease period, rental payments, details regarding the renewal of the lease period, cost of repair maintenance, insurance, and any other expenses. After the lease agreement is signed, then the lessor requests the manufacturer to supply the asset to the lease. तो जहाँ पर ये लीज एग्रीमेंट कंप्लीट हो जाता है and it is signed by both the parties, then the lessor he requests the manufacturer or the supplier to supply the particular asset to the leasing. Okay, so this is the procedure. This is the what a step-by-step procedure of making the lease. Okay. What are the steps involved in the leasing that I have already discussed? So in this particularly, anywhere you have any doubt? Am I audible to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Uh, so let us discuss what are the different types of lease or types of leasing. Whenever we will discuss regarding the types of leasing, the most important type of lease your financial lease. What? Financial lease. तो फाइनेंशियल लीज क्या होता है? फाइनेंशियल लीज इज एन ऑल्टरनेटिव टू बोरोइंग मनी एंड बाइंग द इक्विपमेंट. Actually, generally, what is happening, what we are doing, generally we are borrowing money whenever we are in need of a certain asset, and we don't have
Uh,
money. Then
Slide
what we are
does it.
doing generally?
Excuse me, sir.
Uh,
The slide
yes.
is not finished. The slide
Okay.
is not
Okay.
finished.
Okay. Huh. We are discussing the types of leasing. In this type of leasing, the first one is your financial lease. And if financial lease क्या होता है? It is just an alternative to borrowing money and buying the equipment. That means whenever we are in a requirement of a certain asset and we don't have money, there is one option that we can borrow the money from others and buy the particular equipment. But your financial lease is just an alternative. It's just an alternative of the borrowing money and buying the equipment. That means you are not supposed to borrow the money and buy the equipment. Rather, the lessor will buy the equipment and you will use that equipment for payment of a rental. So let us understand what are the features of the financial lease. First thing, the machinery is selected from the supplier by the lessee based on his requirement. That means in this type of leasing, the first equipment or the machinery, it will be selected from the various available suppliers by the lessee based on his requirement. And the lessee negotiates the terms of the purchase, that is the price, delivery, installation, warranty, maintenance, and the payment, and all this with the uh, prospective supplier. And the payment for the purchase is made by the lessor, and he is the legal owner of the machinery. Who? The lessor. And the risk of obsolescence and responsibility for maintenance are to be borne by the lessee, and the lessee has to pay a rent regularly. Okay, so these are the features of your financial lease. Now you understand? So ये financial lease में क्या होता है? The asset or the equipment or machinery, it should be selected from the list of the supplier or from the probable suppliers by the lease based on the lease requirement. And the lessee will negotiate the terms of the purchase, price, delivery, installation, warranty, maintenance, and the payments, all everything regarding the asset. And but the payment for the purchase is made by the lessor, and the lessor will be the legal owner of the machinery. And the lessor will enter into the agreement with the lessee for a lease rent. And the risk of the obsolescence and responsibility for maintenance are to be borne by the lessee. Their lessor will not take any responsibility of the obsolescence and the responsibility of maintenance. And the lessee has to pay the rent regularly, whatever agreed upon. Is that clear? समझ में आ रहा है सारा? Or facing any
Could
difficulty?
you please explain the last part? Risk of
हाँ,
obsolescence
lessee
and
has to
response.
pay the okay. The risk of obsolescence or responsibility for maintenance are to be borne by the lessee. That means here you see once the lessor purchase the asset and enter into the agreement, then all the responsibility of the what should be the depreciation. जैसे कि obsolescence का मतलब depreciation होता है. By the continuous use machinery का कुछ depreciation होता है. So for this depreciation, who is responsible? The lessee is the responsible. Why? Because he is using the asset, and it is his duty to maintain the machinery, all the maintenance. Suppose machine breakdown हो गया, any part damage, that he is supposed to repair it and maintain it. There is no responsibility of the lessor for maintenance and the obsolescence of this machinery of the assets which is given on the lease. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. So the lessor has only
हाँ
payment part is borne by the lessor. Rest
हाँ,
everything is
only yes, yes. Only payment, that means the purchase of the asset. So जब ये जो equipment purchase होगा, उसका जितना payment
right,
होगा,
sir.
that is the responsibility of the lessor. Apart from that, all other responsibility shall be borne by the lessee. And after all, the lessee will also make the payment of the lease rent, whatever is agreed upon at the time of making the agreement. That lessee is supposed to make the payment regularly. If the lessee will not make the payment regularly, then there will be the contract of the lease will terminated, and the lessor will get back the uh, machinery, and he can also take legal action against the lessee for the recovery of uh, any amount which is due from him. Okay,
Okay. Thank you, sir.
okay. So let's go to the next type of a lease. So next type of a lease is your operating lease. So operating lease is a rental agreement, and its features are like that. The period of the operating lease is generally shorter than the economic life of the leased asset. That means you see there is what whenever we are purchasing any type of asset, it has a certain economic life. Okay, it has certain economic life. तो यहाँ पर जो लाइफ होता है द पीरियड ऑफ ऑपरेटिंग लीज इज जनरली शॉर्टर देन द इकोनॉमिक लाइफ ऑफ द लीज एसेट. ये जो एसेट लीज हो रहा है उसका लाइफ जितना है उससे कम पीरियड होगा किसका, जो लीज पीरियड होगा. तो ऑपरेटिंग लीज जनरली मैं बता रहा हूँ जैसे कि आपका माइंस एंड क्वारीज ये सब होते हैं. तो वहां पर क्या होता है, according to the what extraction capacity, the life of the lease will be determined. Okay, economic life of the leased assets will be determined. And यहाँ पर जो लीज होता है, लीज पीरियड जनरली शॉर्टर देन द इकोनॉमिक लाइफ ऑफ द लीज एसेट्स होता है. And here the lessor bears the risk of obsolescence and the responsibility of maintenance of the asset. यहाँ पर ऑपरेटिंग लीज में अलग क्या होता है कि हियर द लेजर विल बियर द रिस्क ऑफ ऑब्सोलेंस एंड द रिस्पांसिबिलिटी ऑफ मेंटेनेंस ऑफ द एसेट. जो कुछ एसेट है या अगर ये कोई माइंस एंड क्वेरी होता है तो इसका भी ऑब्सोलेंस हो जाएगा. तो हियर द लेजर इज रिस्पांसिबल फॉर दैट एंड द लीज इज नॉट रिस्पांसिबल फॉर दैट. इज दैट क्लियर? समझ में आ रहा है ऑपरेटिंग लीज? Okay. So next type of a lease is your cross-border lease. तो ये क्रॉस बॉर्डर लीज क्या होता है? This lease agreement is made between the persons of the two countries. That means the party concerned to this agreement, that is lessor and lessee, they are from the different countries. That means the lessor and lessee are domiciled in different countries, and so that this type of contract or lease agreement is called your cross-border lease. Apart from that, there is no other feature of this type of a lease. So generally we have discussed three types of a lease. One is your financial lease, another is your operating lease, and the last one is your cross-border lease. Okay, so this cross-border lease can be of two types. Again, that same, that is, it may be your operating lease or it may be a financial lease. But the thing is that both the parties to the agreement must be what domiciled in different countries, so that it will be cross-border lease. Is that clear?
Sir, can you please give an example of financial lease?
Okay, फाइनेंशियल लीज में जनरली क्या होता है, सपोज यू सी, suppose you are making a what you are what purchase you have purchased a factory. For this factory, you need certain equipment, which is what its cost is very high, so that you cannot offer for that. So here there is one option that you can what take loan from the bank or any financial institution and purchase those assets. Apart from that, there is also another option that you can enter with a leaser or the leasing companies, that so that the company or the leaser, they will purchase the particular machinery which you require for a lease rent. That means you will select what are the equipments required by you and from whom this what uh, machinery is available, and what are the terms of the contracts and all these, and what is the tentative payment required for that, and you will deal with the leasing company or the lessor, that the lessor will make the payment to the supplier, and the machinery will be installed in your factory, and you will get the benefit, and you will use the property for the time being. You will act as the owner, whatever the all the what depreciation and maintenance, that will be also borne by you, but you are supposed to make the payment of the lease rent regularly. Okay, uh, this is a
Okay,
live
thank you, sir.
example. Okay, uh, now as we have discussed all the types of lease, now let us go to the housing finance. Okay. So हाउसिंग फाइनेंस का मतलब जनरली फाइनेंस विच इज रिक्वायर्ड फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ हाउसिंग. तो ये हाउसिंग का रिक्वायरमेंट कब हुआ? whenever we are thinking about the urbanization. That means when urbanization become a popular trend in the developing countries, particularly in the recent decades, there is a great requirement for the housing finance. And this trend is both a source of a development opportunity and challenges for the housing sector, right? And many developing countries, they are facing problems of a poor housing condition on one hand, and witnessing a large and a growing market for housing on the other hand. Why? Because you see what is happening. Actually, whenever poor peoples are there, those who are not able to make house, but they require the house. As they require the house, so there is a great demand for the housing finance. As there is a great demand for housing finance, and the housing finances are also available at uh, what a very easy process. That is why there is also a great market for the equipments which are required for the housing. Okay. Simultaneously, that means whenever there is a growth in the housing finances, similarly there is a growth of the all the equipments which are required for the housing. And this is because of inadequate housing policies, improper property registration, and limits to access to housing finance. तो इसमें क्या हो रहा है अभी देखो, why the people they are facing problem for poor housing condition. This is because of inadequate housing policy and improper property registration. Whenever actually people without knowing anything, they are making the registration of the property. By that, what will happen? They are supposed to lose the money as well as lose the property. And particularly, if we are thinking about the housing finance, it is not that easy as we are thinking. because without any mortgage or without any collateral, it is also not possible to arrange the housing finance a huge amount. That is why all the people they do not have the access to this. There is a what certain limits to the access to. That is why in the recent years, uh, those countries which are developing, they are giving most what more importance to promote housing finance. And housing finance is a fund-based financial service. It's a financial service we have discussed while we have discussed the fund-based financial service. So housing finance is coming under that. And particularly in our country, housing finance was what largely provided by the government till the mid 80s. So mid 80s, the government he main provider tha housing finance. At that time, no private institutions, banks or financial companies, they are not providing any housing finance because as it involves a huge amount and great risk. And in 1988, RBI established a fully owned subsidiary bank, which is called a National Housing Bank. And it was made exclusively for giving housing finance. So let us understand what are the different types of housing loans. Now, as what many banks and financial institutions, they are providing housing loans. But we need to understand what are the different types of housing loans available in the market.
The screen is
Generally.
stuck, sir.
Yes, yes. Various schemes. You can also call them various schemes. Let us discuss them one by one. First is your home equity loan. A home equity or loans क्या होता है? This loan is provided to customers by mortgaging the existing house property at the market value for any purpose. तो यहाँ पर any purpose का मतलब क्या होता है? That house you can what renovate, you can restructure, or you can make extension or whatever the thing or whatever the amount required for that, that will be provided to you, uh, but on the mortgage of the same property at the market value. उसी प्रॉपर्टी का मार्केट वैल्यू जितना होगा on that basis the financial company or the banks they are providing loans to you. This is called a home equity loans. Is that clear? समझ में आ रहा है? Next is your home purchase loans. As the scheme is home purchase loans, basically this is provided or exclusively provided for the purchase of uh, house. ओके, तो यहाँ पर परचेज ऑफ हाउस का मतलब क्या होता है? आइदर ये हो सकता है आपका इंडिविजुअल बिल्डिंग और ये हो सकता है अपार्टमेंट्स और और ये जो बिल्डिंग एंड अपार्टमेंट्स हो सकता है, ये न्यू भी हो सकता है, पुराना भी हो सकता है. ठीक है, तो आइदर इट विल बी न्यू बिल्डिंग और न्यू अपार्टमेंट और इट विल बी ओल्ड बिल्डिंग और ओल्ड अपार्टमेंट. दैट मीन्स you should purchase any one of them, whether it is the apartment or individual building. Whether it is new or old doesn't matter, but it is exclusively provided to purchase. Okay, that is home purchase loan. Another type or another scheme is a land purchase loan. तो ये land purchase loan में क्या होता है? This loan is provided for the purchase of land and construction of a residential housing. तो यहाँ पर जो लोन दिया जाता है, that is not only for the exclusively for the what purchase of the building.
स्क्रीन ऊपर कौन गोटे सर स्क्रीन
Yes.
ऊपर कौन गोटे ट्रू कलर किछि अछि तो देखा जाउनी स्क्रीन.
Okay, 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 okay. Just
यस सर. थैंक यू सर.
okay, okay. So we are discussing the land purchase loans. That means these loans are exclusively for purchase of the land, and we can also after purchasing, you can also construct the residential house. Because without purchasing the land, जैसे कि अभी होता है अपार्टमेंट्स, अपार्टमेंट्स में क्या होता है, देयर इज नो नीड ऑफ द परचेज ऑफ द लैंड, ओनली यू आर सपोज टू परचेज द बिल्डिंग, but this land purchase loan is not applicable for that. So if you want to purchase a piece of land and then you want to construct a residential house there, then these land purchase loans or these type of schemes are what meaningful for you. Here, the loan is provided for the purchase of the land and also construction of the residential houses. Next is your home extension loans. The extension loans means these are the what loan is provided for construction of additional rooms or जैसे कि renovation, repair, extension, uh, and additional rooms if you want to add or certain other facilities you want to add to that to your old building, then this type of a loan is given. Generally, this type of loan is what a less amount than the home loans, uh, and these are meant for the extension purpose. Another is your home improvement loans. ये home improvement loans होता है. This is for the renovation of your old house. If it is an old house, then you can what I think of the renovation or addition or extension or any other facility for this purpose. You can also get this home improvement. So these are the various types of housing loans. Now let us discuss what are the lending practices of a housing finance. ये हाउसिंग फाइनेंस में कैसे लेंडिंग जो प्रैक्टिस होता है इसका मतलब इंटरेस्ट रेट्स क्या होता है, दैट इज बेसिक इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग हियर टू डिस्कस. तो अगर इंटरेस्ट रेट देखें तो देयर आर टू टाइप्स ऑफ इंटरेस्ट रेट. वन इज फिक्स्ड, अनदर इज फ्लोटिंग. फिक्स्ड रेट सिस्टम एंड फ्लोटिंग इंटरेस्ट रेट सिस्टम. So under fixed interest rate system, what is happening? Interest is fixed for a particular period of time, and beyond such a period, interest rate may fluctuate based on the RBI direction. Generally, क्या होता है जो interest rate होता है that will be fluctuating based on the RBI direction. But if it is fixed, that means for a certain period, say 5 years or 10 years, after that it will be fixed, and after that the interest rate will what fluctuate as per the RBI direction. एक एग्जांपल देता हूँ. मिस्टर एक्स टेक्स अ हाउसिंग लोन फॉर अ रिपेमेंट पीरियड ऑफ 20 years under fixed rate system. That means there is no change in the interest rate for the first 5 years, and it fluctuates thereafter based on the direction of the RBI. That means what shall be the the interest rate will be fixed not for the entire period but for a certain period. Okay, that will be also mentioned in the agreement. That is why we should not be worried about that. But continuously, that means during the lifetime of the loan, the interest rate cannot be fixed. Okay. So another system is your fluctuating rate system or floating rate system. तो ये फ्लक्चुएटिंग या फ्लोटिंग रेट सिस्टम में क्या होता है, द इंटरेस्ट रेट दे फ्लक्चुएट डिफरेंटली बेस्ड ऑन द बैंक रेट्स एज पर द डायरेक्शन ऑफ द आरबीआई, एंड द रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट डिफर्स ऑन द डिफरेंट स्लैब सिस्टम बेस्ड ऑन अमाउंट एंड रिपेमेंट पीरियड. यहाँ पर क्या होता है, जो अमाउंट होता है लोन अमाउंट के हिसाब से भी डिफरेंट स्लैब्स होता है. किसका रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट, कोई अगर 10 लाख तक लोन लेता है तो उसका रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट सपोज मानो 6%, कोई 15 लाख तक लेता है तो उसका रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट हो जाता है 7%. ऐसे कुछ. दैट मीन्स इट विल नॉट रिमेन फिक्स, इट विल डिफर फॉर डिफरेंट स्लैब्स. ओके, एंड ये तो रिगार्डिंग इंटरेस्ट था. अभी नेक्स्ट थिंग इज रिगार्डिंग द सिक्योरिटी. तो जनरली सिक्योरिटी में क्या लेते हैं वो, दे आर टेकिंग द टाइटल डीड्स must be mortgaged with the lender for the security purpose. As a security, they are taking the title deeds. इसका मतलब जो purchase documents होता है for that if it is a land land का जो title deed, and if it is a house, then also the title deed of the property or of that land that shall be taken. And processing fee that means ये loan huge amount का होता है, इसीलिए the bankers they are also charging for processing fee. And why they are charging the processing fee? Because there are lots of document verification process. For that also they are charging processing fee. And to meet these operational expenses, lender charges 0.5% of the loan amount for processing house loan. हाउस लोन का ट्यून जितना होता है, तो सपोज आपको 1 करोड़ का हाउसिंग लोन आपको अलाउ हुआ और ग्रांट हुआ है, तो इसका 0.5% आपको प्रोसेसिंग चार्ज देना होगा. ठीक है, ये दिस इज रिगार्डिंग द प्रोसेसिंग. देन वी मस्ट अंडरस्टैंड ईएमआई. ईएमआई का मतलब क्या होता है? लोग बोलते हैं इसको इजी मंथली इंस्टॉलमेंट, लेकिन ये होता है इक्वेटेड मंथली इंस्टॉलमेंट. So equated, why? Because what every month we are supposed to pay the same amount except the first and last installment. So it is a fixed monthly repayment of a housing loan. यहाँ पर क्या होता है? Borrower of the housing loan repay to his lender in the form of a EMI over a period of time. And ये जो EMI amount होता है, it depends upon the rate of interest, the loan amount and the repayment period. किसी एक अगर कम या ज्यादा हो जाएगा तो ये EMI आपका चेंज हो जाएगा. किसके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है? एक होता है रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट, दूसरा होता है लोन अमाउंट, तीसरा होता है रिपेमेंट पीरियड. इन तीनों में से कोई एक अगर चेंज हो रहा है तो योर ईएमआई विल चेंज. एंड द टेन्योर ऑफ द लोन कैन बी रिड्यूस्ड इंक्रीजिंग द ईएमआई. अगर आप चाहते हो कि टेन्योर को कम करना, अगर चाह रहे हो तो या ज्यादा करना चाहोगे, तो आपका ईएमआई, अगर टेन्योर आपका कम होगा तो ईएमआई ज्यादा हो जाएगा. अगर टेन्योर आपका ज्यादा होगा तो ईएमआई कम हो जाएगा. तो ईएमआई कवर्स बोथ प्रिंसिपल एंड इंटरेस्ट कंपोनेंट. ईएमआई में जनरली क्या होता है? दे आर टेकिंग द प्रिंसिपल एज वेल एज द इंटरेस्ट. देन आता है फोरक्लोजर ऑफ अ हाउसिंग लोन. फोरक्लोजर का मतलब जो टाइम पीरियड होता है. सपोज आपने एग्रीमेंट किया था कि 20 साल तक ये हाउसिंग लोन रहेगा. ऑन दैट बेसिस यू हैव डन the agreement and you are paying the EMI, but suddenly, suppose you have received money from any other source and you want to close the housing loan account. जैसे कि नॉर्मली पीरियड होता है हाउसिंग लोन का 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years or any number of years at the option of the borrower. But the borrower can also foreclose the housing loan at any time, paying the balance amount in full. इसका मतलब जो आउटस्टैंडिंग अमाउंट है आपका, आप तो ईएमआई दे दिए, बाकी जितना आपका आउटस्टैंडिंग है, पूरा आउटस्टैंडिंग एंटायर अमाउंट को आपको देना होगा, सो दैट इट विल बी क्लोज. एंड हियर आल्सो द लेंडर दे आर चार्जिंग 0.5 to 1% on outstanding loan amount on the date of foreclosure for the premature closure of the loan. इसमें क्या होता है कि प्रीमैच्योर क्लोजर हो जाता है. So by that what is happening? The bank loses certain interest. Why? The bank expected that they will earn certain interest on this loan account, but you are closing that. For that purpose, they are taking foreclosure charges of 0.5 to 1% on the outstanding loan amount. And here the borrower is free from his liability towards the repayment of the principal amount and the payment of interest amount for the remaining period. तो जो लोन पीरियड आपका जितना था, for that remaining period, जितना पीरियड बाकी, for that purpose there is no liability of the borrower once it is has been reclosed or foreclosed. Able to understand all these things or facing any difficulty anywhere?
No, sir.
Okay, so let us understand what are the advantages of this housing finance. ये हाउसिंग फाइनेंस से क्या बेनिफिट्स क्या मिलता है? फर्स्ट थिंग, इवन लोअर मिडिल क्लास पीपल दे कैन बिकम द ओनर ऑफ द प्रॉपर्टी. जहां तक हम देखें, अगर 50 साल पहले हम देखें तो बहुत मिडिल क्लास लोगों के पास भी घर नहीं था. बट नाउ इवन लोअर मिडिल क्लास पीपल दे कैन ऑल्सो बिकम द ओनर ऑफ द प्रॉपर्टी. And how this happened? This is happened due to easy and a convenient method of the repayment with low rate of interest. This is possible so that even lower middle class people they can become the owner of the property. And here, what is the benefit? That is, borrower can get bulk finance at the time of the purchase of the house, and the same can be mortgaged as a security. For example, you can also purchase the land, and you can also construct building upon that, so that you will get the bulk finance at the time of the purchase of the land, and you can also construct the house there. And ये जो हाउसिंग लोन होता है, it creates a greater employment opportunity directly and indirectly. जैसे अगर देखो, पहले तो आप हाउसिंग फाइनेंस फाइनेंस के लिए फाइनेंसिंग कंपनीज होते हैं, एंड दिस फाइनेंसिंग कंपनीज दे हैव डिफरेंट पर्सन. ये तो होता है कि एम्प्लॉयमेंट डायरेक्टली हुआ. इनडायरेक्टली कैसे हो रहा है? अभी इफ यू आर गेटिंग अ हाउसिंग लोन, देन यू विल कंस्ट्रक्ट अ हाउस. अगर कंस्ट्रक्शन करोगे हाउस का, तो उसके लिए आपको वर्कर्स चाहिए, इंजीनियर्स चाहिए, अ, बाकी वर्कर्स, इंजीनियर्स एंड उसको क्या बोलते हैं, जो होते हैं आपका मैसन, दोज आर आल्सो रिक्वायर्ड. so that is one type of employment. Another type of employment is that जहाँ की अभी हाउसिंग के लिए जितना इक्विपमेंट्स आपको जरूरी होता है, ये सारा जो इक्विपमेंट्स होता है, ये इंडस्ट्री में कम बढ़ता है, so that they are also having more people. So by this, what it creates greater employment opportunity both directly and indirectly. और एडवांटेज क्या हो सकता है? अनदर एडवांटेज, द डिमांड फॉर द कंस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ मटेरियल्स लाइक सीमेंट, ब्रिक, सैनिटरी प्रोडक्ट्स, इलेक्ट्रिकल फिटिंग्स एंड ग्लास इंडस्ट्री इज राइजिंग डे बाय डे ड्यू टू द कंस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ अ बिल्डिंग. अगर बिल्डिंग करोगे तो ये सब चीजें जरूरी होगा ना, तो इसका डिमांड मार्केट में बढ़ेगा, तो फाइनली इसका प्रोडक्शन भी बढ़ता है. तो इसका मतलब क्या हो रहा है कि इकोनॉमी का ग्रोथ हो रहा है. एंड हाउसिंग फाइनेंस पेव्स द वे फॉर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट. तो अभी अगर देखें तो हम कंट्री का टोटल नेशन का जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, इज दैट ऑडिबल? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, actually there was a power cut. Due to that, this mm, got disconnected. Okay, so I think there is only 5 minutes, and I cannot put the PPT again. But till the 5 minutes, I am continuing. In the next class, I will show you the PPT. Don't worry about that. Is that okay? So we are discussing the advantages of housing finance. Uh, in this particularly, we are discussing about the demand for the construction of a material. जैसे कि होता है कंस्ट्रक्शन में मटेरियल्स यूज होता है सीमेंट ब्रिक्स सैनिटरी फॉर प्रोडक्ट्स इलेक्ट्रिकल फिटिंग एंड ग्लास इंडस्ट्री ये सारा इंडस्ट्री रेज होता है कहीं ना कहीं तो इंडस्ट्रियल डेवलपमेंट हो रहा है एंड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट भी हो रहा है कंट्री का सो ये हाउसिंग फाइनेंस जो होता है इट पेव्स द वे फॉर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट और क्या होता है द बोरोवर कैन अवेल इनकम टैक्स एग्जेम्पशन अंडर द इनकम टैक्स एक्ट फॉर द रिपेमेंट ऑफ द लोन तो जो हाउसिंग लोन करते हैं उनको क्या होता है कि वो जो पेमेंट रिपेमेंट करते हैं बैंक में जितना अमाउंट रिपेमेंट करते हैं प्रिंसिपल एज वेल एज द इंटरेस्ट फॉर दैट दे आर गेटिंग द टैक्स बेनिफिट ओके so these are the advantages of the housing finance. Let us understand what is the scenario of a housing finance in our country particularly. In India, for a long time, there are no proper financial institutions for providing housing finance. During 1960s, the central and the state government they brought various housing programs in order to relieve the congestion of the population in the cities and the urban areas. And in this direction, particularly, HUDCO, that is Housing and Urban Development Corporation, it was established in 1970 to finance various housing and urban infrastructure activities. And the total share of the HUDCO was subscribed by the government of this is all regarding the housing finance in India. Any question? Is there any question? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. So you have the next class, or I will wrap up the class.
We
No,
don't have
sir,
any class.
today no class, sir.
Okay. That means I will wrap up the class right now. Okay. Thank you so much. We'll discuss in the next class. Have a good day.
Have a good day. Have a good day, sir.
Thank you.